Defending in fc26 is one of the hardest parts of the game. Players move faster, skill moves create space easily, and one small mistake can lead to a goal. But in this video, I'm going to guide you from beginner all the way to pro-level defending. We're going through the best settings, switching, jockeying, stopping through balls, pressing, staying compact, and everything else you need to win more games. Let's start! Before you learn how to defend, you need the right settings. This is the foundation. If this isn't correct, everything else becomes harder. In fc26, you can choose between tactical defending and advanced defending. Legacy isn't allowed online, so ignore it completely. Tactical defending is the classic system. When you press circle, you perform a standing tackle, and depending on the angle, your player might use his foot or his body. It's more precise, less risky, and your players stay in position more easily while you're learning. Advanced defending works differently. Circle still performs the tackle, but if you press X, your defender uses his body to win the duel. And if you're using defenders with bruiser playstyle, this becomes extremely strong. Advanced defending gives you a much more aggressive playstyle and lets you challenge attackers physically in a way tactical can't. So which one should you choose? If you want to be aggressive and win the ball quickly, advanced might be the better choice, although it takes some time to get used to if you normally play on tactical. Tactical, on the other hand, keeps your defensive line more disciplined and stable, especially when you're learning. It's really a matter of preference and style. And before we move on, there's one more important difference you need to understand. In advanced defending, when you're close to the attacker, you can actually spam X without losing control because your defender keeps using his body to win the challenge. With bruiser defenders, this is incredibly effective. In tactical defending, you can't do that. You need to be precise with circle. If you mistime your tackle, your defender steps out of position and you immediately open space. Advanced is more aggressive. Tactical is more controlled. Understanding this helps you decide which style fits you best. Now let's move to one of the biggest differences between casual players and pro players: switching. Most players switch with L1, but the problem is simple. The game chooses the player for you and many times it picks the wrong one, so you lose control of the defensive situation. Let me give you two examples. Imagine the opponent is preparing a through ball to the winger. You know the pass is coming. You want to grab your fullback early, pull him back, and intercept the run. With L1, that's impossible. The game won't give you the fullback at the right time. With the right stick, you select him instantly. Another example. The opponent reaches the byline and wants to rotate the ball backwards into midfield. You need to switch to your central midfielder to block the pass. With right stick switching, you do it immediately. With L1, the game decides for you and you often get the wrong player. So let's set your switching correctly. In the settings, put right stick switching on player relative. Ball relative makes it difficult to select players who aren't near the ball. Player relative gives you clean control. Set your sensitivity to 4 or 5 depending on your preference. I personally think 4 is the sweet spot. Keep next player switching on classic, and for reaction time calibration, turn it on, put it to 0, and then turn it off. This fixes a bug that causes delay. Once you master right stick switching, your entire defending becomes more proactive, earlier, and much more effective. Now let's talk about one of the most important defensive mechanics in the entire game: jockeying. Most players defend while sprinting. That's why they slide past attackers, lose balance, and leave huge gaps. The correct technique is simple. Sprint to close the distance, then stop sprinting and begin to jockey by holding L2. This makes your defender stable, balanced, and reactive. If you need extra speed, you can use L2 together with R2, but don't hold it for too long or you'll glide out of position. And if your defender has the jockey playstyle, this mechanic becomes even stronger. Another defensive tool you must learn is the professional foul. Pro players use this in almost every match. When the opponent starts a dangerous counterattack, you can press R1 plus X to grab the attacker, stop the transition, and reset your defense. Just remember that if the opponent is through on goal, it can be a red card, so use it intelligently. Now, let's talk about staying compact and solid because this is the real defensive meta in fc26. A compact defensive unit reduces space and makes your opponent's attack predictable. The first rule is simple: do not drag your defenders out of position. The moment you pull a center back out of the line, you create a huge gap. The second rule is to bring your central midfielders back. Drag them back when defending because this closes passing lanes and makes your defensive block strong. The third rule is to avoid sending your fullbacks forward too early. When the opponent triggers a run from the winger, you must switch to your fullback early and run backwards to track the run. This alone stops most wide through balls. A compact defensive block wins matches in FC26. This isn't boring football, it's smart football. Speaking of through balls, let's talk about how to stop them. Through balls are the biggest threat in FC26. Players abuse normal triangle passes, double triangles, and L1 triangles, which are lofted through balls. To stop them, watch the winger, not the passer. The run is the real danger. Switch to your fullback early before the pass is played and pull him backwards to intercept. When the opponent gets close to your box, jockey with L2 and use defenders with the intercept playstyle. Inside the box, interceptors win so many balls simply by being positioned correctly. In transition, you stop through balls by switching early. Near your box, you stop them by staying compact and cutting the passing angles. Now, let's talk about pressing tools that pro players use constantly. The first one is second man press. When you press R1, the closest defender that you are not controlling applies pressure to the ball. This is extremely powerful because it buys you time. While that defender pressures the attacker, you can reposition other players, close passing lanes, or cut off runs. It's also very strong inside the box because it limits the attacker's space and reduces shooting options. Next is partial team press, which you activate by tapping R1 twice. This creates temporary man-to-man marking, which is very useful when the opponent reaches the byline and wants to cut the ball backwards. I'll show examples of this during the video. And finally, full team press. You activate it by pressing up and then left on the D-pad. You should use team press when the opponent is keeping slow possession near your box, when you feel uncomfortable and can't recover the ball, or when you want to stop kickoff pressure. When used at the right moment, team press closes space quickly and forces mistakes. Next, let's go over offside traps because they are essential if you want to defend like a pro. You activate an offside trap by pressing up twice on the D-pad. This pushes your defensive line higher and makes your team more compact. Good moments to use it include situations where the opponent has the ball with their center backs, when their attackers are facing away from your goal, or when no one is making dangerous runs. You should never use an offside trap when the opponent is triggering runs, when the opponent is facing your goal in a central area, or when they are near your byline, because this opens a lot of space in the middle. When used properly, offside traps make your defense much more organized and difficult to break down. When defending crosses and corners, always clear the ball with circle. Since you're using directional clearance, you can choose exactly where the ball goes. Just make sure you don't aim toward your own goal. Let's finish with some quick tactical advice. We'll go deeper into tactics in the next video, but for now, remember this. Play with 2 or 3 midfielders who defend well, use roles like holding, deep-lying playmaker, or box-to-box, and choose defenders with playstyles like intercept, bruiser, and jockey. These will help you defend much more effectively. If you watch professional players defend, you'll always notice the same things. They switch early, they bring their midfielders back, they stay compact, and they use pressing tools at the right moment. This is what makes defending look easy. If you apply these tips, you will defend like a completely different player.